Hello, I am Juan Ocampo, PhD Fellow at Agenda 2030 Graduate School in Lund University. And today, I want to talk with you about building resilient economic systems through digital financial inclusion. This is part of a blog series called Leaving No One Behind in Time of Crisis. During this pandemic, great amount of assistance aid is being sent to governments around the world. The IMF, for example, has had the greatest amount of emergency requests in their history. Therefore, as Human Rights Watch pointed out recently, transparency and accountability mechanisms have to be strengthened to assure the aid is ending in the hands of the people in need. As it has been analyzed in previous posts, the COVID 19 crisis has an important effect in unemployment, income, and cash liquidity. And these complicated economic circumstances, vulnerable communities are being left behind. To support communities, fundings are being given to states in need of financial support, but the deficient transparency and accountability mechanisms jeopardize the impact of international aid in times of crisis. It is outrageous what unscrupulous people can do, and sometimes the financial aid is snatched from people in hunger and needs. And this should not, and let me stress this should not be allowed. Even though financial aid is necessary in many cases, it is important to acknowledge that international support is temporary and the community's local economic capabilities are not always developed, which in many cases leaves these people still dependent in external supply chains and in vulnerable positions. For many years now, complementary currencies have been developed to increase the social and economic resilience in communities. And now, with the emergence of decentralized finance, aspects as accountability and transparency can be enhanced. Through the use of blockchain, lending communities, peer to peer marketplaces, and currencies are foreshadowing a new age in developing aid. One of these cases comes from a partnership between Red Cross and Grassroots Economics, who has been using on chain complementary currencies to incentivize the creation of local supply chains and market loops. And thanks to the benefits of the blockchain, it is able in a transparent way to gather data and analyze the real use of this funding. I want to highlight some aspects of this solution. First, there is up to a certain extent a democratization of aid. Communities or capabilities in terms of financial literacy might increase, and there are incentives for developing local supply chains. Finally, international organizations can be better held accountable in how the donor money is used. I want to end this post with four main takeaways. First, there's a lack of transparency and accountability that jeopardizes the impact of development aid. Second, decentralized finance and complementary currencies are an important platforms for developing more resilient communities by prioritizing local supply chains, increasing financial literacy, and enabling more traceable impact. Finally, and very important, is to reflect on the ideologies, power structures, and values that these technology infrastructures are embedding and the unintended effects of using them in vulnerable communities. A couple of months ago, the IMF director discussed about three main aspects of their work. This was economic inclusive growth, integration, and a common home. Let's keep this in mind when we make use of developing aid. As I told you, this is part of a blog called Leaving No One Behind in Type of Crisis. So I recommend you to watch them and read us. Thanks and keep safe.